Welcome back to the Thinkin Chair Chat. I'm going to spend the next few weeks talking to you about the value and the importance of powerful illustrations. All right, so there's basically there's always a need to create powerful illustrations when you're either speaking or writing. It's the way that we ensure that our viewers, our listeners, our readers stay with us, right? And so I want to talk to you about four types of illustrations that are always helpful. And number one, the first kind of illustration that you want to make sure that you use on a regular basis is something that's current. Current events, regular, relevant events, things that are happening right now are what's on the people's minds. And if you can take what's on the people's minds and make meaning out of it to create a valuable lesson or to draw a deeper understanding from it, that's going to be valuable. People are going to be wanting that kind of content. They're going to be thinking about, they're trying to make sense of what's happening. And so there's that saying that you should always have the Bible in one hand and the newspaper in the other. The concept is because relevant and current events and current content is what people are constantly thinking about. The second one is so you got current, but then you got historical, right? Because everybody remembers where they were on 9/11. Everybody remembers where they were when JFK was shot. I remember where I was when the 2004 tsunami hit, the Pacific tsunami, the Indian Ocean tsunami. um, when you think about historical events are what kind of, Pearl Harbor. These things have kind of shaped our world and shaped our thinking about the world. And so you think about the first election of a black African American president. Those things are the things that we can always draw meaning from and greater understanding from. So historical events are crucial, and historical events lead me to the third one, and that is narratives, right? So historical events usually have a story element, a story component to it, right? You need to know the background information for how Abraham Lincoln became president and his road to the presidency and all the elections he lost, stuff like that, right? There's always that kind of story component that makes that historical reference or that historical illustration so powerful. And narratives are important because people love stories. People love stories. And if you tell a good story, you know how to tell good stories, you will always grab and grasp and hold people's attention. And with that comes the last one. There's the personal illustration. Those personal stories, those personal testimonies are the most important ones and the most impactful ones. I remember here somebody came to me and says, "You talk about yourself too much when you speak." But here's the thing: people don't want you to talk about them, and I'm going to talk about that next week in the next session. People don't want you to talk about them, and you're going to make people uncomfortable if you're calling them out, and that can be unethical as well. Like you don't want to be airing people's dirty laundry, but you can make people feel comfortable by talking about yourself and things that areas you fall short. Maybe I need to talk about that next week and talk about something that, sometimes we have a tendency of going too far. You can go too far. But the point is, if you tell personal stories, your personal experiences, then it helps people to connect with you. It helps people to understand your humanity, recognize your humanity. And then the fact of the matter is, you're going to be able to tell a more compelling story when you're telling about something that happened to you. So there it is. You need to tell stories that are current. Give illustrations that are current. Use illustrations that are historical. Those can be really dope, really helpful. Use illustrations that are narratives, that are stories. And then use some that are personal, that tell stories about yourself, that are information about you that people can connect with. Hey, once again, I'm glad you guys are back with me on the Thinkin chair to talk about creating quality church content. Listen, if you got a question, you got an idea, something you want to know, think more about, learn more about, drop it in the comment section below, or hit me up at CC Thinkin Right. CC Thinkin Right. But once again, glad you joined me. Next week, we're going to talk about, I think we should talk about when sharing goes too far. All right? So join me again next time, Thinkin Chair Chat, when we create quality church content.